come here. Time forced our hand, Millenoi. Nary soul expected you to slay our enemy last night, on a new moon, no less. But you accomplished something of great import.
I lack such forgiveness for my failure, Headmistress Hecate. The Titan yet lives, and Olympus yet burns, while I'm back where I started. What is it I accomplished?
You're here to speak of it. Recovered in body, if not in spirit. You've not failed, merely begun. Thus may you learn, grow stronger, and complete your task. Death to Chronos.
Death to Chronos. The cauldron's ready for me now.
At least our cauldron's finally purified, praise the fates. Speaking of which, are you as yet considering an invocation to them? I have my doubts that they would listen even now.
If there's any chance the three fates shall aid us, I'll take it. Thank you for preparing things for me. Though I'm well short of freshly picked reagents still.
I'd offer such reagents if I could, but as you venture past this glade, look carefully along your path and you shall find them. Fate's willing.
Yes, Headmistress. Headmistress.
There she is. Welcome to the edge of Erebus. Well done, Millenoi.
Thank you, Headmistress Hecate. I could not have reached this point without your guidance.
And in turn, you shall not pass this point without a demonstration of your capability.
My capability? You'd have us face each other here, even though my task has already begun.
Your training shall never be complete. And I would know if you stand any chance at all against our enemy.
How long has it been? 3, 2, 1.
It is the dead of night within a haunted, barely moonlit thicket at the underworld's edge. There, a young forsaken princess hunts her prey.
Ready or not, hence I go. I bid you farewell for now, Lord Hypnos. Where could she be?
The keen-eyed princess finds a set of tracks, suggesting that her foe trod through this dusty ground not very long before.
Shush, Homer. How shall I ever catch her if you're going to describe my every move?
I've no idea to whom you refer, to whom the Princess of the Dead refers, as she continues on her fateful search.
Quit teasing me and help me look.
You'll find her yet.
Odysseus, have you seen Hecate about?
Not in a little while, little goddess. Though I'd expect that pointy hat of hers to give her away.
I'll look for it. Thank you.
Oh, she's got to be around here somewhere, little goddess.
Got you, Hecate. You're dead.
Got me, you did, Millenoi. But I dare say I can escape your clutches yet.
Hey! can't hide from me. Hi, Shades. Is Hecate about? Huh, not seen her, huh? Over there. There you are. Got you again.
Ah, so persistent. Give up already, witch, for I'm a titaness. You cannot vanquish me.
I can and shall. I got you. Hecate? What's the matter?
It's merely that I've not heard your laughter before. Reminded me of your mother. A much preferable sound to that of grief.
I promise not to cry again. I still get sad sometimes, but not as much.
Do not make promises you cannot keep. When tears well up, let them spill forth. They're not so precious that they need be contained.
But you never cry, Hecate. And I wish to become strong like you, so that I might find Chronos and destroy him for what he's done. And then you could hear my mother's laugh again.
And I shall do everything in my power to prepare you, so that you may succeed where I failed. If not for your family's sake, then for your birthright, as the princess of the underworld.
What do you mean you failed? You tried to beat Chronos yourself? He hurt you?
Concern yourself with your own pain, not mine. Destroying Chronos shall not change the past, and the pain shall linger, though assert itself less frequently with age. But enough of this. On the morrow, we shall teach you to hunt greater prey.
Truly?
Greetings, witch.
I'll get him, Headmistress. I swear it. All that you've taught, I'll bring to bear. And no matter the obstacles that stand in the way, Chronos shall fall by my hand.
I require no convincing, Malinoe, although perhaps you do. However much I've taught, what's important is you're a capable student. Enough! You fought with diligence and with ferocity, but surely there is more for you to learn beyond this threshold.
I look forward to it, Headmistress. What about you? Can you not join me?
No, I dare not stray too far from our abode. Continue now your task. I shall await your safe return.
Thank you, Headmistress.
Rise and shine. You have gone far, Malinoe, and you bested me. Gave me quite a scrape at that. There is much left to be done, but you are learning.
Thank you, Headmistress. Although I know that I could not have bested you had you held nothing back.
You know? Why do you self-impose such limits on your capability? Alter your thoughts. I shall see you again out there.
Yes, Headmistress.
There you are. A flash of silver. Limb and auros. So, the sister blades have veiled themselves, do you? The other nocturnal arms shall follow their lead, I expect.
Nyx entrusted them to you to safeguard the realm as a last resort. But this cannot possibly be how they were meant to be used.
And why ever not? To safeguard the realm, you shall have to clear a wide variety of obstacles standing in your way. I am but one. Good morrow. The Fates indulged you after all. That is their scroll beside your tent. It followed you out of the shadows. Perhaps it can provide some answers.
Would that it does. The fated list has tasked me with ensuring certain minor prophecies are fulfilled, though says little else as yet.
May it reward your efforts at least. But do not expect the Fates to always favor you. The bane of our enemy is not necessarily our friend.
We'll have to take our chances. Headmistress, if it isn't inappropriate, I have a little gift, seeing as your personal supply ran out a while back.
Ah, the hounds shall lap this stuff right up, I think. I shall safeguard it for them as a treat. And why don't you hold on to this in kind?
Your silver wheel. I can have this?
Prompt as ever. Blood and darkness, I can sense you have those accursed knuckle bones on you. I shall have to thank Odysseus for providing such a gift.
My keepsake? I'm surprised these have any effect on you, Headmistress. I thought for certain you enchanted them yourself.
Odysseus has known his share of witches besides us. Well, I'm braced for impact. The knucklebones strike first, and then we fight.
We may have a chance.
You fought well.
Headmistress, if I may, what is it that you and Master Odysseus are planning? He's always with his charts and diagrams.
Odysseus considers our plan of attack, yours more specifically. He plots a course from the nearest underworld entrance to Olympus.
The surface? I'm to attack Olympus? When? How?
Attack, defend, 'tis all the same. Patience, Illinois. As you observed, we are still working through some of the details. Compose yourself. Olympus has emboldened you and made you strong, yet 'tis a fleeting strength. One false step and I could wipe it all away.
I'll take a fleeting strength over no strength at all. We take every advantage that avails itself.
Just so. Then come and show me how you would make use of such advantages. I shall see you at the crossroads anon. I shall be catching there my breath.
You're here, Lord Charon.
These shipments shall be very valuable to us. We remain, as ever, in your debt, Charon. May swift Hermes hasten your voyages across the realms, wherever he may be. And until we meet again, shadows conceal you.
Thank you for the supplies, my lord.
Melinoi?
I heard from Hermes, Headmistress. He gave me the impression that Olympus needs my aid. What of my task?
Your task remains, as does the adversary whom you face. We shall discuss the matter with Hermes elsewhere. We have other matters first. That's quite enough. You have survived against me, and for that, you're owed a gift. May you learn well through it, Melinoi.
It is done.
What troubles you, Melinoi? Your brow is furrowed, not with fierceness, but with doubt. The one emotion we cannot afford.
Headmistress, it's just... I'm struggling to muster the rage I should feel. I'm tasked with slaying a titan I do not even know, to avenge a family I cannot remember.
Your feelings never lie to you. 'Tis their origins that may deceive. You feel no rage? Then you are in control. Tell me, do you question the need to complete our task?
No, Headmistress. Treachery against the House of Hades cannot go unpunished.
Just so. Center yourself on that. Not even a scratch. Hermes urged me to address a certain matter with you here. However, my view is you are unprepared for the surface as of yet.
Meaning you won't lift the wards barring the path to the surface? What if I remove them myself? I've seen how you do it.
Then you'll be more prepared than you are now. Till then, remember your objective lies below, past me. Stand down! Impressive show of force. Hold nothing back as you continue on. From the shadows.
Headmistress, I saw him, Chronos. First beyond Erebus in the guise of an old man. He then attempted to ensnare me in some vision out of time. The river aflame, everything ablaze.
Still, your heart, Melinoi, you're safe. And you were able to return again, which means that all your training served you well. So then, he realizes who you are.
So he claims. I broke free from his spell like it was second nature, but neither could I raise a hand against him. What must I do now?
Nothing has changed. You're to confront him down where he resides, where your mother and father rightly ought to be. But go with patience, not with haste. He may know something of your power now, yet not enough. I sensed your presence. You surpassed me before, yet I wonder, was it your mastery over our craft? Or did the fates themselves perhaps provide a little nudge?
Come, Headmistress. If I could be provoked that easily, I'd stand no chance at all. Not even if the fates desired otherwise.
Good fortune seldom comes to those in no position to receive it. Show me your victory was no mere accident. Well done. We shall have to do this again some other eve. Return to Shadow now.
Thank you, Headmistress.
Approach.
Chronos was waiting for me again outside of Erebus. This time I recognized him right away, but I could do nothing against him.
Wily bastard. Arrogant to the last. So then, he knows of you. What did he say?
He thanked the fates that we had finally met, as though he'd been searching for me all this time, and told me not to make the same mistakes as my family.
Eject that poisoned memory from your mind. He knows nothing of the fate's designs. I shall reinforce all our protective sorceries, and you fear not your enemy. Slay him. There's not much glory in confronting adversaries one-to-one. I myself invoke shades of the dead to alter the odds. Some may well favor you instead.
Perhaps if I brought with me a legion of animal familiars next time, Headmistress? Not that any beast would bear its fangs at you.
You jest, yet a familiar may be of considerable benefit given all that you have to do. A possibility to think upon once you are rid of me. Do bring an animal familiar along next time, if but to keep things livelier for me. We have the means to keep them safe, even in scuffles such as these.
Headmistress, I'm concerned Chronos may find us. I first encountered him not far beyond these woods.
There are so many passageways to Erebus, 'tis exceedingly unlikely he shall find the way. You face a greater risk than that right now. You have grown physically quite strong, but spiritually more is to be done. The altar of ashes. There is an incantation that may make your nightly meditations at it better spent.
The consecration of ashes.
One more of Nyx's kin is here for us to mind. Your incantation tracked him after all. Doom typically arrives uninvited, of course.
Lord Moros is to be our guest. I know his presence must seem an ill portent, but if the Fates wanted him here, who are we to fight it?
Who indeed? A chill swept through the air as you approach. Unseasonably cold. Or perhaps it is as Demeter desires. She aids you, does she not?
She does. She knew me for her granddaughter at once. Have you had opportunity to speak with her about me and all that's transpired?
No. I've been a bit preoccupied. At least here, Demeter shall be able to cool her wrath against me for keeping you a secret for so long. You passed this test again. Though how much farther you can go, we'll see. Much is expected of you. The pressure that you feel, you never speak of it, and yet full well I know it's there. Your constant companion.
I can hardly distinguish between pressure and faith anymore. My entire life has led to this, and all of you are counting on me. Are you truly so certain in my inevitable success, Headmistress?
Pressure and faith are intertwined, 'tis true. Ever in conflict. Should the pressure utterly prevail, out comes despair. Only then do we truly falter.
You didn't answer my question. The combined might of the gods was not enough to stop Chronos before. And you know the fates are unpredictable. My success is not a certainty.
My faith is not in outcomes, 'tis in you. And I've enough of it to last. Should you find yours lacking, I shall always spare you some of mine. Our enemy's strength even exceeds my own. We're both titans, yes, Chronos and I, but he is my elder, as I am yours. What say you?
His age doesn't mean anything to me. The old are seldom wise, and often weak. And he did not study under you, Headmistress. Only I have.
Just so. He is an arrogant old fool. The impression of wisdom comes with age more than the real thing. Remember that. You've earned these spoils. May they strengthen your craft. Strength, knowledge, patience. You have exhibited the three repeatedly. Well done.
Thank you, Headmistress, though I continue learning from our every clash.
Good, because I've no intent to stand aside. Our craft is called a practice for a reason. Now, on your guard. Your growing skill with Lim and Oros makes you something to be feared. Good.
Headmistress, if Olympus is besieged, then why am I not permitted on the surface? If I could aid the gods, then they could aid us even more.
Malinui, however you complete the task is up to you. I have not barred you from the surface. But I caution, if you go, your strength shall fail you. Your birthright is to blame. No fault of yours.
Born in the underworld, and here I'll stay, thank the fates. I don't intend to live up there, Do you know how long I'd even have?
I know your brother and father had a day at best ere they could not stand it any longer. Perhaps you're different, but don't count on it.
Does anyone besides me ever happen on you in this glade? Perhaps some evening Artemis or someone may appear instead.
This clearing, rest assured, is ours alone. These woods are vast enough. Yet I see everyone who passes through, no matter how clandestine they may think they are. May all your enemies beyond succumb to you as readily. You brought some company along. An unassuming choice. Your amphibious friend does not appear to have capacity to sway the outcome here.
I never trust appearances entirely, Headmistress, and no, neither do you. This must be an exciting night for Chronos.
We are not here to entertain your woodland friends, Malinois. Pray they don't get underfoot. You'll continue to grow, whilst I continue thusly testing you. You are required at your post, Nemesis. Or shall you take to openly defying me just as your sister does? I shudder to think what your mother would say of you two.
You have no right to invoke my mother. None of this would be happening had you fulfilled your role as handmaiden and warned her an attack was imminent.
Best watch your mouth or I shall seal it shut. You may continue dwelling on a past you were not witness to, or you may do what is expected of Nyx's daughters. Or whatever Eris is up to. Your choice.
You must wear that veil so as not to betray your disappointment, Headmistress. All these failures, yet you still do not admonish me.
Oh, silence, Malinois. For your setbacks, I've boundless patience, but for your petulance, I've none. You won't find a better catalyst for such inner turmoils, as I lack sympathy for them. I've impeded you for long enough this night. Go. Make the most of this attempt. To us.
I reached the house, Headmistress. Did everything as practiced and as planned, except he was too strong.
No, this is an excellent result. You are still here, having learned more of what it takes to reach our enemy and what he can do to resist. Do you feel ready to continue your pursuit?
Yes. If I can reach him, I can take him.
You wear one of those silken dresses, always with a vivid hue. I know whose handiwork they are. This one quite suits you, though it is unlikely to withstand the heat. No further need to keep each other here, I suppose. Back on your feet, I see.
I found him, Headmistress. My father. Chronos has him locked away in Tartarus. But I couldn't save him. He asked I leave him be.
Truly? How utterly predictable of Chronos to gloat in such a way. I regret that your reunion with Lord Hades thus transpired. Though I am gladdened you discovered him. How does he fare?
I really wouldn't know. He seemed sound of mind and body, and he knew me soon enough. Gave me what blessing he could still bestow. What can we do?
If he asked you leave him be, then 'tis evidence he wishes to remain unseen. Use full discretion and be brief should you encounter him again. And I shall see about ensuring Chronos remains ignorant of your newfound connection.
By your leave.
I sense that Demeter is with you once again. I suspected she would either be among the first to lend support or to refuse.
Could you not have told her about me, Headmistress? To have lost her daughter and grandchildren. I cannot imagine her sorrow.
It was a painful choice to leave her in the dark. She would have gone to war immediately, but our task requires patience, as you know. You have grown strong, although we've an eternity to hone our craft. Vengeance for your family awaits you far below. I'm certain they would be proud of what you have become. bear them in your heart when you strike.
Headmistress, I'll bear them in my heart, but I have no memory of them. How could I? You're the one who's always been there for me.
Oh, don't say such things. I am not your mother, Melinoi. So much she could have taught you. I cannot. Never compare us. You visited the surface. I can't imagine that played out particularly well. At least you made it back at all.
It was draining. Even at night, something about being under the stars, I didn't know there were so many. It was more than I could take. You were right.
A lesson learned and an experience gained. The fates themselves do not want you up there. What shall you do?
I have an incantation to complete. I don't need to stay forever on the surface. I just need to hold on long enough to make it to Olympus.
Ah, then you seek to improve this aspect of yourself without rejecting it outright. I see how that may work. I had expected your arrival here the prior eve. It was not for me to cut short that attempt. However, I shan't hesitate to cut short this one. May you show even greater wrath against the enemies awaiting you below.
Headmistress, Olympus seems reluctant to ask outright, but I can tell my family there needs me. I cannot shake the sense that I have to help them before I can achieve our task.
You needn't shake that sense, for it may well be accurate. Are you still thinking of an incantation that may help you to survive such a journey?
I am. Up there, I'll be like a fish out of water, right? Suffocating. But with a proper incantation, I was thinking maybe I could hold my breath until Olympus is secure.
Such a spell shall not be simple. Though if you demonstrate that you're sufficiently well-traveled, then perhaps magic such as that shall help you go farther still. The tactician brings ill tidings with an optimistic bent. Fine. And what news from the men of the Isles, if any yet survive?
According to my confidants, they've all sworn in with Chronos, I'm afraid. Mortals, they often want whatever they don't have. Another golden age in this case. The promise of one.
'Tis a lie that spares their betrayal rather than a promise. They shall perish then by the wrath of the gods.
And then their wretched souls shall hound us with renewed vengefulness. I've witnessed endless wars before, madam. So have you gods. How can we stop this?
We cannot. Melinoi, however. Certainly you can, correct?
I can and shall. This task, why does it fall solely to me, Headmistress? Because Nemesis,
She is a burden. Had I not sworn to Nyx that I would watch over her children, I'd have cast her out for insubordination long ago.
She's frustrated you haven't given her a chance. Her strength far surpasses mine, and she's trained at least as hard. I've seen it.
Why defend her thus, Melinoi? Her attitude speaks far louder than she. I shall entrust nothing of import to one such as that. Your recent travels to the surface, how were you able to survive up there? You were away for longer than I would have expected.
My surface breathing incantation made a difference after all, Headmistress. I still felt the oppressive atmosphere up there, weighing down on me, but not crushing me quite like before.
Magic born of your resolve. I'm impressed, though not entirely surprised. May your craft thus protect you ere Olympus is secure.
Indeed.
Hail to you, Witch of the Crossroads. It gladdens me to see you, Hecate. I have observed the stalemate upon Olympus holds, although the Titan Chronos musters forces in Ephyra still. Shall I continue monitoring them?
Yes, Selene, do. Blasted Ephyra is the closest exit out of here. Do you suppose they are prepared for a single assailant to weave through their ranks?
The Titan's forces are somewhat in disarray. Thus, no, I do not think they are sufficiently prepared for one of us. But I shall watch and make certain of it. For now, I must be off. Together we shine.
Farewell. Together we shine. I was curious to see if you would consecrate the altar of ashes on your own. It ought to be further attuned to you as a result. The secrets of the Arcana nearer to your grasp.
The altar is the threshold through which we all pass, going to and from these crossroads. A gateway to the past, present, and future. I know it isn't mine alone. It's ours.
Correct, on all 3 counts. I was beginning to think you had grown so fond of the surface that you would not be coming back here anytime soon.
Our task takes me to the very ends of the earth. I have unfinished business there as well as here. I'm much more comfortable in these environs, though.
Comfortable? You should be fully on your guard and braced for battle. Let's see how comfortable this is for both of us. That indolent little amphibian whom you keep, did my eyes deceive, or did I see him hopping rather energetically toward the egress?
You saw it true. I've compelled little Chronos to join me in my attempts out there. Surely you've taught me wards and charms enough to keep a familiar safe?
One can but hope. And may your familiar keep you safe in turn. And perhaps scrounge up some more roots and such for us. I trust the Dark of Erebus was not too much to handle with the ever-burning flames of ignium to light your path.
No, Headmistress, it was not. Although I've much to learn in how to wield these flames.
Then you have come to the right place. Show me how you make the shadows dance. To bear each of the nocturnal arms is a terrible responsibility. I've only begun to realize their nature. A certain incantation shall deepen your understanding.
The aspects of night and darkness.
Eris has returned to us, I trust you've seen. It was my dearest hope that leaving all her rubbish here would soon enough inspire her to pick it up, but alas, you stay away from her.
I thought perhaps you'd finally relieved her of her entry privileges. I won't let Eris turn this place into a sty for pigs, even if it means having to clean up after her myself.
How she'd chortle could she see now the frustration on your face. I know, ignoring things is seldom how one makes them go away, but when it comes to Eris, I fear it's our best shot. Now that's a sight, you bearing down on me with that gigantic moonstone axe. Wasn't certain you'd prefer that one.
Zorafet is weightier than the other arms, but having an axe such as this in woods such as these has been convenient overall.
Well, much as I hate to inconvenience you, I must. Although that monstrous thing suggests this oughtn't take too long. Go on, Melinue. The greatest teacher is out there.
I dreamt of Father once again, when Chronos came for him, and you took me to safety. Except this time, I remained there longer than before.
'Tis more than a dream, of course. And what else did you learn whilst you lingered thus?
I learned Chronos wanted for Father to tell him where to locate the 3 fates. Chronos hates them, or feels threatened by them. He's been searching for them all this time, hasn't he? And finally found them.
Which means they may not take our side if forced to choose. I feared as much. yet didn't wish to lend the possibility my voice. Well, this certainly fits the spirit of the news Swift Hermes relayed when he spurred us to act. Something real bad, I believe were his words.
Real bad. Yes.
Using the Argent Skull of Rafal now, are we? We're becoming a most capable necromancer to have earned its trust.
Was this once a living creature's skull, Headmistress? Only to be infused with silver and enchanted as an instrument of night?
That is rather a personal question, considering all evidence at hand. Perhaps Raval herself shall reveal to you the answer in due course. I shall return to Shadows hence. Trust that your eve is only beginning.
Last night, Headmistress, I traversed a gate that led me to the depths of chaos, where I met its host. I've heard so much from you of Nyx, yet somehow I never expected to meet her mother and father. Of all creation, not just her.
An audience with primordial chaos. I'd not entirely expected that. Although, given that Nyx herself has not been seen since Chronos took the House of Hades, I am unsurprised. There is no fury like that of a parent bereft of their child. Does chaos seem an ally to us, then? That pitch-black stone in our training grounds. I've sensed it ever since your incantation. The subtle influence of chaos on this realm.
Our goals are intertwined. When I gaze upon the stone, I begin to see different paths and possibilities in every facet. Some leading closer to our victory.
Those paths and possibilities are real, like as not, as are the splendors that await should you indulge our primordial benefactor. There always is uncertainty where chaos is concerned. Yet I trust that Nyx's parent is an ally, not a threat.
I trust so too.
Decided to take a break from all your recent outings to the surface, have you now?
There's much to be done, both above and below. You always say the greatest teacher is out there, but I always seem to find her here.
I taught you nothing of such flattery. One of Odysseus's tricks, perhaps. Let's see what others you have learned. Well fought again, Melenoi. Proceed, and moonlight guide you. Or...
The influence of Chronos is much stronger in Oceanus than here. He attempted to ensnare me in a vision of another time. A field of flame.
Yet you were able to elude his grasp. An aspect of your condition we expected would come into play as you pushed closer to our foe. Continue with still greater caution, nonetheless. Descura. You've a particular objective to achieve here, haven't you? Seen what must be done within the facets of the pitch-black stone.
A trial on top of a trial. This is one of the infinite possibilities that Chaos anticipated. I chose this path, but it was already there for me to find.
It's very much disquieting to know the choices that we make might all be preordained to some extent. Nevertheless, Knight's will is to be done. You wield Descura capably, and I can tell the bond you share is strong. Now, farewell. Sister Selene notified me it was Eris herself who barred you from gaining the heights of Olympus. She never should have got her hands on the rail of adamant again, that wretch.
Headmistress, is there truly nothing we can do? Your oath to Nyx means Eris can come and go here as she pleases, only to try and blast me to bits when I approach my goal.
One must carefully consider the terms of binding contracts, Melenoi. A mistake on my part you are paying for firsthand. And I apologize. Do bring her hell when next you meet. How fares the ever-sinking fleet of ships within the Rift of Thessaly? 'Tis a wonder Chronos gathered as many followers as he has, using such shoddily built craft.
The fleet shows no real sign of slowing down. Fortunately, the same sorcery that seems to be holding those ships together lets me transfer quickly from one to the next. Are all surface ships so odd-looking?
I certainly think not. These are merely emblematic of the Titan's false promises of a new age. They assault not just Olympus, but our sensibilities as well. The altar in our training grounds is for your benefit, yet you would face me whilst ignoring the arcana. An oversight? Or bit of cheekiness?
Merely a bit of deception with which to take you off your guard, Headmistress.
I think not. I'm fully on my guard and suggest you be on yours. Well fought, and may the fates be generous to you in your descent. You prevailed in your attempt, but our enemy is time itself, and it would seem that he is not prepared to abdicate his stolen throne as yet.
Prevailed, sure. And yet, I feel as though I've come no closer to achieving our true goal. My task, sometimes I fear, it's impossible.
Impossibility tends to be transient. Time would wear us down, but with patience, we can withstand him until our night arrives at last. I scarce believe my eyes. Seen that little cat about these woods? You have persuaded her to follow you.
Tula did take some convincing, Headmistress, but she seems to appreciate my company, at least most of the time.
Moody creatures, cats. Born huntresses, but uncontrollable. I almost fear to see just what this little one can do. With hounds, at least I know exactly where I stand. Have you been finding anything of use out there in your forays? No point returning empty-handed, though you may lack the necessary tools, I suppose.
Erebus still teems with hidden life. I'm finding all sorts of things we need out there. I'm very grateful for the purse. It never weighs me down.
A witch cannot afford to be encumbered. The blessings and such from your relatives may be fleeting, but whatever goes into that purse isn't going anywhere. Not till you use it, of course. The nocturnal arms are beginning to awaken. May we yet see an age when they can slumber once again. Have you a favored sister yet among the lot?
I am grateful that the Weapons of Night have accepted me. I intend to treat them equally, Headmistress.
A commendable approach, but not a necessary one. The nocturnal arms share our purpose. They care little as to which of them you use, only that the task is completed. You're back. Now, tell me everything. You found your mark. What then?
I reached the edge of Tartarus and made my way into the house, just as we planned. Chronos was there, on my father's throne. We clashed. He lost. But I know he isn't gone, and I was unable to linger there for long.
Truly. And you retrieved something from him, I see. We were never going to destroy him with brute force alone, but soon enough, he may yet be undone entirely. Until then, study him. And I shall study what you found.
By study him, you mean find him again and fight him? Weaken him? Distract him?
Oh, by the way, something awaits you in the training grounds. You proved beyond a doubt that you're prepared.
Thank you, Headmistress. I know it's a difficult time, Headmistress, but just in case, would you be interested in joining me for a brief while at the hot springs?
As much as I would enjoy basking in the springs, I've incantations to complete, wards to reinforce. No, I cannot. Not now. Oh, come, Melenui, you need not influence me with such gifts. We have a task. Let us stay focused on it, no?
You have taught me to apply myself to many things at once, Headmistress. Why can't I stay on task while paying my respects?
So, the Arms of Night have revealed to you some of their former selves. Or future selves, perhaps? Few have earned the right to bear such weapons, much less take advantage of their different likenesses.
The various aspects I've discovered. Some of the bearers I know well. Medea, Artemis. They're all connected to you, aren't they?
It is not as simple as you may presume. You bear a set of artifacts whose aim is to safeguard the underworld. Each aspect is of somebody who played a part in this, or shall.
It seems I'm in good company.
There you are.
I vanquished Chronos. Everything you've trained me to do. Yet still you stand in my way. Still more to learn even now.
Now and always. That tinge of frustration you expressed, I would see you rid yourself of it in your attempts to rid yourself of me.
Headmistress, there must be something we can do for Arachne. Her curse torments her. What use is our craft if we cannot ease a friend's suffering?
Arachne's fate is not yours to undo. It's a matter between her and Athena. I suggest you leave it well alone.
How did you know it was between her and Athena?
I do not care for your insinuations, Millenoi. I do have a bit of a taste for this stuff, I suppose. I once traveled much more often, to places where 'tis easier to procure. Perhaps you sensed in me some wistfulness about that.
I've learned from you, Headmistress. So, this is just a small token of my gratitude. Headmistress, I was wondering if you might accompany me to the springs for a short while, if you're not overly preoccupied.
Well, I do believe I could use a bit of a soak. I've more knots in my back than that tree. Let's be quick about it, then. These waters always seem to do the trick. But this is all right. Thank you for replenishing these waters. One of those details I had been meaning to get to, but alas.
You're very welcome, Headmistress. I appreciate your saying so, as I half thought you would admonish me for using magic and resources on this sort of thing.
Magic mostly is for self-improvement, Millenoi. Not a shortcut, mind you. And if an occasional scalding hot soak in the springs isn't self-improvement, then my concept of it must be very flawed.
I wish I could bring myself to relax. I feel like I'm wasting precious time while I'm here.
Time spent being good to oneself is never wasted, unless you overthink it overmuch. We are here. Seize the moment ere it passes. A shame we cannot cook indefinitely in those springs, but a brief dip is better than none at all. You spoke the oath of the unseen and would enact Night's testament this eve. I sensed the growing fear. How much of it is yours?
A healthy fear, no more no less, Headmistress. I'm honored that you granted me the right to take the oath. Assuming it was your doing, rather than Commander Skelemia's.
Best not to speculate too much. 'Twas your own doing most of all. Then face me on this terror-stricken eve. You have made certain vows and shall experience the consequence. Those sands that you recovered from our enemy, have something of his nature in each tiny grain, a key of sorts, to the dissolution of time. Do you concur?
I do.
That very incantation sprang to mind. An expression of all you taught me of his weaknesses. A means to unravel his very being, to bring death to Chronos at last. He doesn't seem to realize it's possible. Still thinks I'm just an agent of Olympus.
'Tis merely evidence that our concerted efforts have not been in vain. You cross the underworld like a tempest, whilst I remain in shadows. But when the Titan's time at last comes to an end, I dearly wish to be there myself. To see the look on his face.
We'll get him, Headmistress. The Cocytus teems with life there by the riverbank again, Headmistress. Would you please join me for a look?
Very well, why not? I suppose I could use a little walk, and we could use the fish. 'Twas not very long ago that you never would have permitted yourself this type of excursion, nor had the mettle to request that I accompany you.
Headmistress, you're right. I could be hunting for our enemy this very moment, and you've so many responsibilities, yet I'm wasting your time. This was a mistake.
Hold, lest you frighten the river denizens. Only then should my time be wasted here, Malinois. You mistook the meaning of my words. Your capacity to still your racing mind is not a detriment. It is a growing strength.
I'm surprised you see it that way. Sometimes I feel I'm losing my focus. Why else would I have brought us here?
Perhaps you reasoned that we each need occupy our minds with other matters for a little while. And we are failing at it by continuing to speak. Let us be still together and direct our focus on the waters there. I much prefer to use a spear myself. Be still. Merely a lesson learned.
Blast.
The river always provides, and let no such task ever be beneath us.
Together we shine.
Moonlight guide you. Our enemy surely is beginning to wonder how you are able to thwart him. Do leave him in the dark. The less he knows of us, the better.
Chronos seems to think my family bond with him is why I'm able to resist. He hasn't made the connection that you're the one who's prepared me.
You have prepared yourself. 'Tis good that you are drawing his attention and his wrath whilst I remain unseen. We slowly undermine his strength, and through our efforts buy your mountain relatives more time. Malinois. There you are. I cannot stay for long. Just long enough to put you to the test.
I got here as quickly as I could, Headmistress. And still you had to wait.
To wait is the practice of patience. Now, on to other practices, I think. Well fought. But I cannot mend your wounds, and neither shall your enemies. With all your incanting as of late, I must needs caution you to not overextend. I know you want for every chant and glamour on the tip of your tongue, but they require space and time.
Using the cauldron doesn't drain me as once it did. Though I know I mustn't be reckless.
Indeed, lest your fair right hand come to match your left. Although perhaps that boy-shade Icarus would fancy you more if that were so. Been gone a while, hasn't he? Whilst I appreciate the gesture and the drink, it is entirely unneeded on your part. Have I not conditioned you to resist the temptations of unspoken contracts such as this?
I know not to expect anything in return, Headmistress. The act of giving needs to be sufficiently rewarding in itself. And please believe me that it is with you. I wanted to ask you something, Headmistress. All these reagents I've been gathering, taking from the Earth, from Mother Gaia, how can I make it up to her?
Well, you can start by not wallowing in senseless guilt. Think you that Gaia would reveal her abundances to you if she believed you would not put them to good use?
But you taught me never to take more than I need. Now I'm taking everything in sight.
And Gaia knows you'll need all that and more. Fear not, your plunder returns whence it came through your craft, if not your garden there. I've little taste for the traditions of the gods, you know. Lest you forget, I am a Titaness. Or in common with our enemy, I dare say, than with the likes of Zeus and his ilk.
No matter your heritage, Headmistress, you have been a sure and steady guardian of mine throughout my life. A bit of tradition helps express the gratitude I feel.
Tradition is all well and good, lest 'tis followed blindly. Senselessly, I should say, for the blind are often very much aware. But let me not belabor your kind gesture. I am grateful, truly. It is a particularly quiet night. Observe the silence for a moment ere we begin our little test of just how capable you have become.
It does seem unusually still, and the moon wanes. An ill-portent, Headmistress. Our shades should check up on your hounds.
No need. The hounds spend mostly for themselves. Like as not, they use this time to rest, as you'd be wise to do now and again. Just when I thought I had you, you seized control of the fight. Well fought.
Headmistress, I have a message from my father that he asked me to relay. He sends his deepest gratitude.
Lord Hades told you this. Whatever for? He rots in his own prison whilst the Titan ransacks his domain. My charge was to safeguard the realm, and I did not.
Father spoke of when he left me in your care, when Chronos struck. He must have feared the worst. Now he knows I'm well. All thanks to you.
No, Melinoe, all this is thanks to Chronos. Your father would do well to save his gratitude ere we settle certain scores. Oh, speak not to him of this undignified response. I merely was taken aback.
I was thinking of putting these purifying salts to use, Headmistress. Call it a cleansing ritual. Would you accompany me?
A visit to the springs ought to rid us of unwanted thoughts for a while. Let us be cleansed together then. Would that this were all we had to do. We're like two nettles boiling in a cauldron, aren't we?
I remember bathing in this spring when I was very small. You would ask me never to splash your hair, and I would do it anyway. You were so tolerant of me.
Well, now at least you know the reason that your training was so rigorous. There came a point when even my vast tolerance for all your splashing finally wore thin.
Wait, you trained me to the height of my ability as a witch because I got your hair wet?
It was either that or transform you into a newt or something. Come off it, Melinoe. You are entirely too serious sometimes.
A lesson I've been unable to take to heart, Headmistress. I suppose it's been a while since we talked like this.
Yes, well, that's growing up for you. And present circumstances haven't helped either. This blasted hot spring got all covered up with moss and had been stagnant, I don't know how long. Being here again, it takes me back.
Do you think we'll be able to keep the moss from reclaiming this place again?
I'll watch the moss, you watch the splashing. Deal?
Deal.
Much better. Sometimes I think that hot spring could raise the dead. How fares the goddess of the hunt? By now these woods must feel a second home to her.
Sister Artemis appears quite well, so much as possible of late. If anything, she seems in better spirits than before.
Good. She, Selene, you and I have all prepared for this contingency, and now 'tis time we shine. Particularly you and I right now. I thought I said you needn't curry favor with me thus. I shall take this bottle nonetheless, if but to penalize you for not offering it up instead to someone more deserving of your affection.
I can think of no one else I would rather have this than you, Headmistress. You've made me the goddess I am, and not a night goes by that I'm not grateful for it.
How often must I say I'm not your mother, Millenoi? You needn't lavish me with such unbridled praise. I raised you to destroy our common foe. You owe no gratitude to me.
You've often said what we intend and what we do are not the same. I know you're not my birth mother, so what? You've cared for me. That's more than enough.
I've used you, and I'm using you still. Can't you see that? I've attempted not to hide this fact from you, yet you turn it aside.
You have raised me in accordance with the promises you made to my father. He never asked you to coddle me, did he? Surely he wanted me to fend for myself.
And do you think you can? You remain under my auspices, take aid from Olympus. You're not as independent as I planned. And furthermore, I've inadvertently caused you to think I've made you better off.
I believe you have. I know no other way. It fills me with sorrow, knowing you feel undeserving of the love I have for you.
Set your sorrow well aside for now. I'll drink your nectar and enjoy it, if you please. Once you're quite finished with the cauldron for the eve, I may have need of it myself. Protective charms to be refreshed, wards reinforced.
If you've a certain incantation in mind, might I be able to assist? The invocation of the dead, concealment in Knight's Embrace, whichever.
You've your own matters to consider now, Millenoi. Though if you're here in the vicinity whilst I'm chanting, your voice is always welcome, joined with mine.
Together we shine, Headmistress. I found Circe the Enchantress on my route toward Olympus. Or likely, she found me. She hasn't changed a bit from what I recall. You have her keeping watch over the seas?
That I do. Selene takes to water like a cat, while Circe hails from the sea. Thus has it been a good arrangement for a while. I trust Circe's work retains its potency.
She's been great. Perhaps some evening I shall reach this point so quickly that I'll slip by before you arrive, Headmistress.
I've no intent to permit any such possibility. Not even if you've the swiftness of Hermes speeding you on. Why don't we get to it, then? You have been fixed upon your altar even more than usual of late. Have the Arcana shown you aught of note?
I'm beginning to see the cards in a new light. Each depicts a significant choice made in the past. Such knowledge may help make better choices in the future.
Indeed. We choose as wisely as we can, using what knowledge we have. So, you now clearer see into the cards, as you call them.
I didn't mean to keep you waiting long, Headmistress. Or do you always arrive at just the right instant?
A bit of solitude here hardly is a waste of time. I never merely wait. I've more matters to attend to in these woods besides. But first... We are alone. Nary the baying of a single hound is to be heard. Selene, high above, shall have to be sufficient for an audience. Set your respect for me aside whilst here. You must give no such quarter to our enemies.
But you are not my enemy, Headmistress. How am I to treat you as one?
How? Allow me to give you a demonstration, then.
This grove is already regrown since last we clashed. For all the death in Erebus, life flourishes as well.
Death and life, the two are intricately intertwined. These woods shall easily survive our clashes here. What about you?
This grove is already regrown since last we clashed. For all the death in Erebus, life flourishes as well.
Death and life, the two are intricately intertwined. These woods shall easily survive our clashes here. What about you? Have you had opportunity to glean much from the Book of Shadows yet, Millenoi? Our task shall take you far beyond these crossroads. You've much to learn as yet.
As I begin to have insights into my experiences, the book reveals more. Are there your teachings within, Headmistress?
Not mine alone, though heed them anyway.
I'd not expected Lady Medea to be stationed in Ephira still, Headmistress. To think even a witch of her experience wasn't able to prevent the city's fall.
It was not her responsibility to try. Medea was there to blend with the locals. It seems she's even more successful at it now, with most of them deceased. I trust she aided you in her own way. It is fortunate your father's realm is vast indeed, that you may circumnavigate it at the edge of Oceanus, where our enemy is relatively weak.
If we cannot pass directly through Elysium, then we shall make what way we can. Though the fiends that lurk the border of the sea care not for my presence.
God-hating monsters with salt in their veins. The seas covering the world's surface just were not enough for them. Sunken chambers they occupy have not yet fallen to Chronos, at least. By light of moon in darkest Erebus, I urge ye spirits of the crossroads thus. Look well upon the wards about this place, which keep us hidden within night's embrace. Ensure that each is whole, its strength secure, as we hold out against our common foe. To achieve victory, we must endure the ravages on us time would bestow. So mote it be.
And, that's the end of my report this time, madam. Should you have any questions, please don't hesitate to summon me at any time.
I shan't, Odysseus. Although there is one further matter that I wanted to discuss with you, and rather quietly. How fares the task thus far, Millenoi? Our enemy yet remains indisposed with more pressing matters. The time to strike at him is now.
There is much left to do, Headmistress. You must know that. How much time do I have?
Who can say? Our enemy is time itself. Time's passage seems to bear little meaning anymore. Do not rush needlessly. The task will only take longer that way.
I'll do my best.
You always reminded me of your father, Millenoi, but lately you remind me of your mother, more and more. The concern for others that you sometimes show. It can be an exploitable weakness.
I would never put any such concerns ahead of the task, Headmistress.
See that you don't. Although my remark was not intended as admonishment, it was my honor to have known your family, even if merely from the shadows. The fear in the air, 'tis almost palpable tonight. You have made many vows this eve, feeling so very bold, or merely curious to see what shall transpire.
A little of each, Headmistress. Perhaps I made a terrible mistake. It's fortunate the vows contained within the oath can be undone, unlike most vows.
All vows can be undone. But yes, the oath is oddly forgiving in this way. Its vows never strictly binding. Perhaps so that each evening may be interestingly different from the last. You look unwell. Returning is difficult, I know. Tell me if you need anything.
I think I'm all right, thank you, Headmistress. How do you manage it when you're out of sorts?
Oh, I've a draft for every mood and more. Sorrow, pain, anxiety, lovesickness, dispassion, rage, fear, nausea, cowardice, all sensations one can rectify, whether with mental fortitude or, failing that, a potent drink. If you lack confidence, then how are you to manifest your will? Be certain of your heart's desire. Your dreams have troubled you again, I see, despite your brave attempts to conceal it.
I can manage them, Headmistress. It's Chronos. I now hear him, even when I'm still as death.
Then turn your nightmares into his. Your subconscious self is your greatest refuge. Let none there remain whom you do not permit. I must say, you've been putting our old cauldron to good use. I see and sense the changes in this place. Changes for all our betterment, not just your own.
A proper incantation's never to be used for selfish gain. Though, if I can help bring about positive change from which I benefit, isn't that selfish still?
Discard such doubts as that. You are not thinking solely of yourself, thus you are not thinking selfishly. I've not taught you to neglect your needs, have I?
Upon this cauldron by the will of night, hear me, shades of the dead, and listen well. Your strength is needed now to join our fight. Upon Olympus and in depths of hell. Within these crossroads you are safe with us. Yet we would ask your service to our cause. Your will is yours, your choice is given thus. Together let us rise above our flaws. So mote it be.
Our wards are that much stronger thanks to you. You cannot beat me with anxiety, you know. Still your senses and prepare yourself. Know you the purpose of these bouts of ours?
To complete my training, each clash between us is an opportunity to learn and grow strong.
You're partially correct, for our training shall never be complete. Yet onward we must strive.
Headmistress, have you always been so fond of beasts? It seems you would do anything for each other.
Beasts, saddled with such an uncharitable name. Beasts are far more trusting than most any mortal or immortal I have met.
They make it seem so simple, don't they? To fully trust.
One knows where she stands with beasts, whether she is loved by them or doomed to sate their hunger. Whether the gods were so dependable. What's that you're brandishing? Ah, the nocturnal arms begin to show their myriad colors. Silver, you well know, is but one.
Each of the aspects of the arms of night represents a bearer from another time. I'm still learning the full extent of what they can do.
And I suspect you shall continue doing so. If nothing else, this ought to make things further interesting here for the both of us. I thwarted you again out there. 'Tis unfair, I know. I arrive fresh as rain in anticipation of our clash, whilst you may already be battle-worn.
Fairness is a luxury, Headmistress. Though I do sometimes envy your ability to travel such long distances in an instant.
Do not be quick to envy what you do not understand. Along your path are to be found resources and reagents we require. And if you cannot get past me, then you are unprepared for what awaits beyond. Our craft leaves little room for doubt, yet some always remains. And even a little can be far too much. Grow not attached to such a place as this. You belong within the luxury of your great father's house.
As you say, Headmistress.
Sense the changes in the night, in you. Your strength has waned significantly. Chaos wishes to see the outcome of this particular arrangement, then?
Another trial, Headmistress. My magic may be weakened, but you taught me never to depend on it entirely.
And whether you took such lessons to heart, we shall imminently see. As Selene be our witness above, so shall chaos below. The Arcana gave to you no benefit at all this evening. Still, you bested me. I know not whether to heap praise or reprimand you for being such a little show-off. We have a bit of a personnel problem with our Circe the Enchantress. Her isle is poised to survey our enemy's fleet, reports of which ought go directly to Odysseus, except they go to me.
A gap in communication. By your leave, Headmistress, I can notify her of the proper protocol when next we meet.
You shall not speak of this to her at all. I raise the point so you can be aware. Circe has long been a valuable asset and ally. Your visits to her isle may help keep it that way. You're angry. Let it out. Anger's not to be suppressed nor misdirected. To be angry is to be alive. Much is expected of you, so you must learn to bear that burden with grace. Your task may be an honor, but the wisest whom you know shall not envy you for it. I know your task is difficult, and also know you have it in you to succeed.